Superior, Chester, all these main names of connections to the shore will still be very accessible. And we'll be able to get everything.
Okay.
Okay. So another component of this is how you realign Main Avenue Bridge. So most of you are familiar with the shoreway. If you're traveling from west to east, there's a bridge that is right there near County Courthouse. This project will remove the Main Avenue Bridge and kind of make sure that everything is at the same elevation. So thus giving you more of a boulevard instead of higher elevations. And then this is going to slow you down because at the very top here, this is the boulevard as we are aligning it now. So you will pause. So this is us slowing down traffic coming through here, and you will realign, jog down, and continue across the east. But this will be removed. That's the current bridge alignment. This gives an opportunity for cars that are on Lakeside Boulevard to access Boulevard as well, or Lakeside Drive to access the Boulevard. So this is more ways for us to make sure that traffic flows safely throughout this intersection. Another addition that we are considering.
Not sure.
Another addition we are considering is 18th Street. So now, as I mentioned, there's no connectivity to the lake other than West Third and East 9th. This will give us an additional connection to the boulevard of 18th Street. So 18th Street now will be right into the boulevard here. It actually starts over here, but it's going to follow a nice slow slope going down to the boulevard. So we are hopeful that this will allow for views and vistas to the lake as you're going down. The slope will be very gradual. Get up and down this slope as well. And it'll get you to the lake. So this is providing additional connectivity into downtown. So with this, we're hoping that our traffic analysis per ODOT can be satisfied. So they want to make sure that whatever we're doing does not impact the current interstate structure. And so we are very optimistic that adding this connection into downtown will help us to alleviate and pull some of that traffic off of the interstate structure, which is their current. Another bit of negative about this project is East 9th Street. So currently, if you're all aware, if you can picture East 9th Street at the shoreway, it's above grade. When you say above grade, that means the street is going over the current shore. So we would like to now make East 9th Street at grade. So showing this first probably going to help you better visualize removing the bridge, from Main Avenue Bridge, because now everything is going to be at the same elevation. So that's why we don't need the bridge. Now you can still continue to follow along the new boulevard and remain at the same elevation and making your connections as you continue west. But this, what it does, it opens up this space. Because now at that intersection, there's our parking garage. Basically, it's the only thing there because you can't directly access any of the development or amenities. So this will give us an opportunity to allow the persons coming into this area to easily access whatever development we can put on these corners. Right now, we are anticipating that there will be a trailhead. So now Client Hunter County is installing a trail that's going to run from East 55th and come along the shoreway to this destination. So if we can have a nice trail here so people can actually pick up the trail, or if they're biking, take a break from the trail, we think that would be a great amenity for this location. And that concludes about the connection, and we'll move into then discussing the Ghostmaster.
Appreciate it. So she talked a lot about our connectivity, how we get where we're going. And this is really about the master plan, about what do you do to get there, what's exciting about it. And a lot of what we're talking about today is data, right? Like, what have we heard? And I want to make sure that we, step back for just a second and say, 18 months of engagement, that's how we got here. And a lot of what we heard so far, and these are your top four: Lakeside Dinner festivals, cultural events, a sand beach, and you'll see all of those things designed for them now. And we hope to continue to gather this data because again, this is just a framework backing it. It's a vision, but we have to get into a lot more detail and we hope to continue to engage and involve in every aspect of what this place will look like. So just for reference, the project area, 22 acres of asphalt, currently all of Edgewater Beach should fit there. This is the area just north of Cleveland Rings. It is city owned. This is what it looks like now. Definitely not our own capacity set Lakefront. And so this has been, how do we think about connection to our lakefront? How do people get there? How do we continue the malls? Walk through downtown to the lakefront without all of the things Allison pointed to in the infrastructure we have now. And so really this vision is, again, the land bridge coming across. And so that, you don't have to, walk past, you have to wait for stoplights, you don't have to worry about, cars speeding by. You just have a parkway setting all the way, from the malls all the way down to the lake. And then once you're there, all that investment's done, right? We've got a lot more green space, a lot more amenities. I mean, this is your downtown lakefront public park, right? Free it up into the public, come down and have fun, enjoy this wonderful place. And we hope that you guys will come down and see how wonderful it can be. But as part of that, again, we're talking about connectivity. There's currently just an Amtrak station. This location now, very small building. They definitely outgrown that footprint. So really thinking about a vastly improved train and bus station so that, let's reactivate the waterfront line, let's get people down here. Let's make sure that it's much more accessible. The cost to get here is very minimal. Okay? But then you could also lower the bridge and, a nice park like time as well. And then once you're there, again, nature playground. Let's make sure that it's a place that the family all comes together. That people, really, hey, we're looking at a world-class playground here. We want people to. This is a destination, right? So let's make it the best playground we can have. And let's capture the view. I mean, we're here on a day like today, right? So when we get sun, we really need to take advantage. And it's a beautiful place to be. I mean, if it wasn't an asphalt parking lot, if it could be a place to get we could reconnect with our waterfront. We can just enjoy a sunset and have a good time. We'll also have a splash pad there. And as I mentioned, the cultural events and things like that, this whole area would be a massive plaza. We can host big events. We could have concert series and movies in the park. The land bridge itself will function as that leisure type seating. So you can have a lot of people sit up, get an XP, and partake in different arts and cultural festivals. But then, hey, we live in Cleveland, look at the day today. So let's embrace the winter. How can we make the lakefront a destination in the winter time? Different winter markets, an ice rink, sledding, all those things. Let's really embrace it. But then again, hey, we do have these beautiful days, a sand beach. Let's really think, how can we engineer this? How can we bring people to the water's edge? How can we get their feet in, right? All those things that, when you get to the beach, everybody wants to the water. We want to make sure that we can have that element of contact with like the area. And then, as I mentioned, the sledding, just let's embrace the winter and the fishing here as well. Just trying to embrace some of that arts that we can have great fun activities for our community to come back to. You saw Lakeside Dining is the #1. So what we're really talking about is a fatal multi-story, think like West Side Market, but a lot of like foods. at a variety of price points. And that's something that we've heard over and over and over again is, hey, like, that's great, but can my family afford or come down here and enjoy, like, you know, can we actually afford to eat down here without spending? And so a place like this could be for entrepreneurs, for, you know, for leaders to start their businesses, get off the ground, and have all kinds of price points for us to just come down, and enjoy with our family. We talked about, East Ninth Pier, there used to be Frank's, a place you can just go grab a mistake on and we definitely want those price points here, and also give you some elevation, get up, you know, enjoy the breeze, see the lake, have a nice view. A great place to be with your family. I'm gonna back up like, hey, this is great, sounds full framework, great vision, how do we get there, right? So one big piece of this, and this is one of the, you know, really exciting platforms that Airbnb has right now, is the short form of shore vision. And what he means by that is Lakefront and Riverfront. And we've sort of, you know, historically turned our back on both. And let's make that the front door. And then the four obviously is downtown. How do we make those connections? How do we connect to those places? And how do we help the sixth grade? What we're using is in what's called TIF district, the tax increment financing. It's just in this zone of downtown. And here's the reason behind this, right? So if we look at, oops. If we look at a map of the entire city, right? The vast majority, about 60% of the, you know, the income, the tax revenue to the city is right in this one little area downtown. So if we make investments there, you know, and we see growth there, we can capture those funds and we can then reinvest outside in neighborhoods. So the TIF district, something I think, you know, a good comparison, kind of like a college fund or your retirement fund, you know, if you start at age 20, you have so much more money than if you start at age 50, right? These are things that kind of grow exponentially over time, but you gotta let time for that compound interest to accumulate from those funds. But the beauty of it is, you know, 10, 20, 30 years from now, is coming to turn, we'll have a lot more fun to be able to reinvest in both the downtown and the neighborhoods. And specifically in the neighborhoods, we want to target parks and rec. So a lot of these plans are really focused on, let's get outside, let's enjoy, you know, the wonderful amenities we have at the lake and the river, but also in your neighborhood, what's our great? We know that a lot of them are in great shape and we need to accumulate some funds to make those better as well. So with that, I'll just open it up if there's any questions before we jump into the next phase of data. Anything from the group? Great. Well, we'll hand things over to Full Frame Initiative.
Hopefully, good morning, everyone. I'm excited to get with you today as the city of Cleveland and a chance with the city of the Full Frame Initiative. Just wanted to go into why this was a survey that those of you here effectively completed for us, but why it represents well-being insights, assets, and trade-offs. So, and so when we talk about well-being, for Keisha, Allison, or Dan talk about the interest in hearing from people, from the residents about what's important to them and what matters. So that's part of looking at well-being. And well-being are really these needs that we all have fall into 5 domains, which you all saw on the survey may not have recognized it, and so spell it out for you because you're going to see the result that was laid out by the 5 domains. We all have a sense a need for relationships and a sense of belonging. That's called social connectedness. Single human being. We all need to know that our life is pretty much predictable. That if something goes, we spiral our whole lives out of control. The more we can do that, the more stability we have in our lives, and that, of course, is the stability domain. We all need to know that we can be our own selves, just show up as who we are without fear of harm, danger for getting that. That's safety, and that happens with people and places, and also institutions. Sometimes there's safety in places, and sometimes there's not in any of those situations. We all need to know that we can have influence on what happens to us, that we can have choice. And that is called mastery, that we can put forth effort and see some results that are important to us is really part of our makeup as well. And lastly, we need to know that we can meet our material needs, which is called meaningful access to relevant resources, not services and programs, resources. So resources for play, resources for learning, resources for getting food and shelter, all of those things are important to fall in that category. So when you think about the Lakefront, it doesn't necessarily come to mind that those things matter, but they do. We are always balancing and trading off experiences that are related in all of those on a constant basis. And so what most happens in planning is that plans are made without finding out what's important to people. So that place in the corner that used to be your go-to every day, if that gets removed and it's not there, that affects you in terms of your well-being. It's not known if people don't ask. And so the city has decided, let's find out what's important to people. It's a first step to figure out what matters. And then there's conversations like these to make sure we understand what matters, that we hear what matters, and engage in conversation in a way. So in the survey, you were asked to complete questions around the 5 domains, and you were also given some opportunity to some narrative responses, which shared things that were really important to you. You could identify why something was either impactful or not to you. And so we were able to hear all that and share some of the things that we saw along the way. So just briefly, okay, just to let you know who we serve. I'm going to make this really quick in terms of moving forward to other slides, but I want to hold both particular only because this work was not done by the city. This work was done by folks who are experts, who have relationships with folks in the board survey. It was all the credible messengers that we call them. They're credible because they know the community, they know the places, they know the people. They're experts, they're advocates, they are leaders in the community, and that's important. They were able in a few weeks to accomplish this goal of getting 361 responses in terms of surveys. If you've ever done surveying, you know it's not an easy task. And to do it in a few weeks is amazing. So it lets you know how deeply connected and how deeply concerned they are about this community and these communities that we were really interested in hearing from. They were able to get it done. And certainly can't appreciate them for that. None of the rest of us were able to accomplish that in any other means. And so great appreciation for them. We were really trying to target the community, Black, Hispanic and Latino residents, youth and elders who were 60 plus or years, 60 plus years old, and residents with households that had incomes less than $50,000. And so that's really where we were really pinpointing in those few weeks. Let's make sure we hear from these folks. Not that we didn't hear from others, because we did, but this we want to make sure those voices heard because they were absent in other places that we've been able to get. So in these slides, I'm going to go through them. It just lets you know who the survey. We were able to meet, as you see, indicated we were successful in actually reaching the numbers that we to or exceeding those numbers as it relates to those 4 populations that. So these radio dials just populate the images. And while I won't go through this particular presentation, these are all available to anyone provide that information to how you can access them. We're available for questions and other conversations, and particularly if you'd like to know that, for the sake of time. We wanted to share with you that these were the results. We did reach the folks that we were targeting, and they're good to hear some of the things. I think that's more important. But we want to spend the bulk of the time making sure that what we heard and what we think we heard was actually what people said. So let's rush through the rest of these, and I'm going to give them Chelsea should be talking about the things.
So I'm going to go through this quickly because we want you all to be able to have discussions at the table. But most importantly, this data is yours. The community owns it. So you'll be able to have access and go through it at your own pace. Going backwards, step forward. So I want to just a quick overview of the highlights that came from the survey. Overall, there was a lot of positive responses to this project going on Lakefront. 88% of the respondents agree with the mayor's vision. 78% said overall impact in the social connections and access to relevant resources. And no demographic group that we surveyed had less than 10% negative ratings for all of the 5 domains of well-being that Nash just talked about. Most important areas that we need to work on as a team to address is safety. Safety got some of the lowest ratings. And so we need to make sure that the lakefront feels safe and people feel like they belong. We had a lot of female respondents take the survey, and they scored higher than most males. So we need to work on hearing the voices of the males in our community. And a lot of residents had questions for stability and mastery. So we need to work on better language so they can understand what that means in relation to the lakefront. All right. I'm gonna skip all that, like I said. Now, this is the meat of the conversation. You have to be able to know about your feelings on whether or not you can say as well. But we wanted to hear what were your concerns, what were your hopes. And so November 16th, all of us, the providers in the city of Cleveland, they put connections and our wonderful credible messengers who collected the data, got together on November 16th to talk about the data and the things that are seeded. And here are the things that came out of those discussions and data analysis. So on a positive note, the residents were super excited about the opportunity to participate in a free destination. We'll have green space, access to commercial activity, tourism, but most importantly, it's a human space and a fun space that families can spend time together. It will also provide access for everyone in Cleveland, regardless of your transportation mode. You walk, you ride share, you drive, you take a bike, and you use public trains. So that's really exciting. And residents want to be involved. They want to be engaged with this project, and it's wonderful. And if you can make it happen, it would be an economic stimulus. And that made a lot of people proud to know that this is change, positive change for the city. Now, some areas that they were concerned, once again, safety keeps coming up over and over. Also, distrust is a big issue. Is the money being used? Is this project, will it ever be completed? This is a massive undertaking. Many people also express worry about not being able to visit or being able to afford to participate in what's down at the lakefront. A lot of residents also shared that they want to see more economic opportunities presented and benefit the presented to and benefit the marginalized populations. Meaning, there are residents from Ward 5 and 14 who are entrepreneurs to be able to do business down at the lakefront. And last but definitely not least, the big question was, what is my tax burden financially in this project? So residents want to know what's going on, where's the money come from? Is it the most? Or is it going to go up? So those are some requirements we saw in the survey. So after we went through the data, we said, what's the recommendations that we can do to ensure that this project is a success and everyone's access to well-being increases with it? So safety. Collaborate with residents to create and rules. Also,
Establish a site cleanup committee and safety and advancement model to approach safety in a way that makes people feel like they belong and they're not being targeted by police or security guards. Communication is critical, so we always need to be transparent and find innovative ways to reach everyone in the community. And this is really important, and that's why we decided to do 2 separate events today, and we have 5 and 14 to give people an opportunity to participate if they wanted to. We also need to be very consistent with communication and updates, and that's something that the city of Cleveland has committed to do. And that will, all those things I just mentioned will address the distrust that came out of the comments section. Economic index was another area that we want to give recommendations to address. And it's just simple, be transparent about the financial implications of this project, as well as sharing all the plans with the community. We also want to create jobs for local residents to work, not only after the project is implemented, but for constructing the project. We want local hands to be in that project. And we also want to pair our Lakefront investments with neighborhood investments. And you heard Dan mention the TIF. Last but definitely not least, we want everybody, when we say everybody, we mean to access the lakefront. So it's important we incorporate wheelchair accessibility in different modes of transportation so people can actually enjoy the lakefront. And last but definitely not least, culture, art, and language installation. Talk about the beautiful history of Cleveland and have lots of signage so that people want to see. Now, that was just a snippet of what we shared with us. And we want you to know on the table, we have a comprehensive Cleveland data summary for you to review. But most importantly, if you sign up with your contact information, you'll be able to access these links and see the raw data, everyone that took the surveys, comments, and more details about it. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sunshine. And I think we're skipping the panel today, but we are gonna do a roundtable discussion. And you know, we're a pretty intimate group, so there's just a couple questions. They're also on your. Feel free to re-up your coffee, food, seconds if you need them. But yeah, we'll just sit down together and we'll talk out what you saw today and any thoughts that you want us to know. Essentially, the big picture is, do you feel like we've captured the data that we captured the community with, right? And if we haven't, what have we missed? Or if there's other things that you're interested in seeing this be part of this plan, just let us know. And with that, we'll move. If we have. For both. I think. Oh.
So then, oh, stop. Stop. Yeah. Start. So it's seven. Okay. Right. The line. So the west side. Now I'm on the stage. That's all. Inside of the thousand things. Slow down. So those two private, we also. To get figure out. It goes down. Can't do that. We're having. That's why. So it's the next. We just. Well, that would. whole picture. State. So the. That's a mistake. Still living on. So active. That's. Now that I stated. It was. It's one question. So first. There is I want to hear it. Sweet. Said obviously. So that we're stop it. So that's not bad. Actually. Actually. It's like all of us. Yes. What there. Yeah. here, I know like it's achieved my vacation joint. Sunday, I was definitely maybe like, hey, you guys, I don't know what's going on. Listen, I'm not talking about something that I don't know. But also you want to follow you. Start talking. I found a way. Serious. I said, yeah, but should I be before? Yeah, like it's was the time. There is it. So people issue about this. So it's like this. It is. Yeah, that's really yeah. Issue. Yeah, that's the it's no problem. It's so it's yeah. So, you see that it's getting more. So, so, it's it's really nice. Yes. So what? have so we're good to them.
So, sorry, yeah, so. I don't know if you're not being, it's about some, it's like. Well, it matter, it. Well, every day, multiple times, just see that. Just make sure this, people start talking about that. So that's the point. Yes. So these are the next month. What's the difference? Something that will. Of 150%, oh, it's one time. So it's not to do like. You don't need them. Something like that. Yeah, that's the. Infection process. So that's the one thing that's going to. So also you can do that. And how to do like this again. The lot of big features and like. So that one. It's all up to you that. Sitting like that. Also, there's another way I maybe in ancient. They like take it with the fathers. Like does but they do and it's experience. I learned about a lot of about parents and also it's not there. They like something like in the future schools. They show up over there. And absolutely it's not a big great. So it's
It's kind of like the demonstration. It's an awesome. Or will be stage activity. Show. When we get to the sky. So. Yeah. Like. This lady. Yeah. It's lost process that you're yeah. Sure. Sure. Also, sure. Social. Yeah. With the features. Yeah. There is a shot. So you're not. No, that's not. Yeah. Boston. So. Space. The other. Anything. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard, but that's what's good. Yeah. Because
But yeah, it's not people. See, because I didn't see. Yeah. Oh, like yes, they're that's right now. This um this but here. So then 60 don't have to like go right. Yeah. It's safety. When the flattening start for the this is safe focus. Properly, it has those dollars. I'm thinking, so they're running it as a big start. Flattening that, then. So I'm sending. So that was 2 foot to what 6 was filling up. So that's what I'm saying now. That. You have to, like, you could invite. You must there, yeah, and you still have to, yeah, so I was thinking all. And then. Take a nice little bite, yeah. Oh, this. So the veterans. Which is. She was like, I. So that was really good. Not. Yeah. Yeah. It's. Because it's out. That's not, that's. It's out. Yeah. There's one big thing, just to look at that secret in that, yes, and that's why I'm not there's. Yep, and that's, I think so.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's why like these green lines on here are so key because. Yeah. Recreate all of those trees as well. And this is and we have the ability to do. But there's it really like because we have the shoes. We can make changes.
Like, it's bigger ones, that's. Like.
Mhm.
And the way it's. Right. Oh, lady. But none of it. It goes to that, they can, and that. Joy. Yeah. So that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. They size it, fixes them, space, he doesn't have to either. I don't really problem. And it's big them for. If I was speaking. Moving something. It's huge, if you think of something, you really take up down, like, it go from Edgewater down into Lakewood Park and possibly, like, Westwood, because the eight flower. I mean, this is not about to be. Well, they're little piece, so the people's, buying. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, take care. See. Something that, I don't know, tired. I am. You know, I don't. Yeah, yeah. It's, yeah, it's like. Yeah. Yeah. So. Managing traffic. So we get all of that. Station there. So. This is what it's.
Then, so, and we start.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Right. Right side.
it's That's the that's. And then it's animals and dies. It has the. Now. There's. It's there. Right, so I guess that's the, that's. Excellent. That's all. I think this is the. I'm trying to see if I can save you in that. Here, yeah, look here. This is the best. And I was, you got this wrong. She left me. That's your problem. That's. And it's so fast. Questions back for some yesterday. On they charter for immediate. And it's big chance. It's so much. Now, this. But I have to. She. She wanted to go. She didn't notice what she would have to. Five to be. It shouldn't be in that shifting. Oh, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. The last time you hear from us? Well, we've been consistent, and we will keep that up. Yeah. You know, so much. I can. It's okay. But it's dead. And so it was saying, yeah, I thought it was. Yeah.